One, two, three, four.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, that make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bang bang, chant down Babylon kingdom, that make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, that make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bang bang, chant down Babylon kingdom, that make we chant down Vatican now.
What up, y'all? Babylon 5 Podcast. How you guys doing? It's your boy, Jermaine Babbles. Episode 99. Calling this bad boy The Good Fight. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we're calling this episode The Good Fight. How are you guys doing? I hope your week has been great. Mine has been peachy. Just peachy. Other than the toothache that I've been dealing with, things have been pretty peachy. It's Sunday night, ladies and gentlemen. I'm watching the Milwaukee Bucks in Game 3 versus the Phoenix Suns. We are up. Giannis takes a free throw, yes. So we are currently up 18 with 33 seconds left in the third quarter. So we're in a good spot, but who knows? Who fucking knows? Give you guys social medias. If you want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can follow this podcast at Babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio, YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcast stream. And if you guys are on Xbox, go ahead and add me at SauceTheBoss414. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and add me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. You can join the Discord at Babylon5Pod. You can buy some merchandise. Go to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. Buy some merchandise, you know. Show the world that you love this podcast, you know. Let them know. Let them see that pretty face. That's my pretty face on your chest. Let them see my pretty face on your chest. Or your baby's chest. We have baby clothes, you know. There's all kinds of shit on there. There's leggings. There's all kinds of shit. Just go buy some merchandise. You're going to love it. And if you guys would like to support the podcast in general, join the Patreon. Go to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod. You get early access to this podcast along with eventual more I Digress. I guess at this point, I probably haven't done an I Digress in like a year. I did the whole, I did my DraftKings pick video. And I can do so much better than that, but yeah. Just with because I think I did it with, how did I record that? I recorded that with my phone. I recorded it with my phone. And I had a list, I wrote down, I think. No, yeah, and I put the list on my laptop of the fighters I was picking for DraftKings. Because otherwise, all my notes are right here on my phone. That's the only thing that's keeping me from doing that. But I could just buy a camera. I have a webcam thing, but I hate, like, the way the camera looks. Like, when I look at the quality of the video, it's supposed to be, like, I thought it was, like 1080p at least, if not 4K. But it don't look that way, because the camera on the laptop, if I just film something on the laptop, definitely if I film something on my phone, it looks way better than that fucking webcam is claiming to be. So, yeah, that's why I was just like, I'm just not going to do videos with it because it just looks shitty. And then I couldn't edit it before I had this M1, but now that I do, I can. So I will get you those soon. When you join that Patreon, you get the I Digress, which are the vlogs. That's coming soon. And join the TikTok. Go to Babylon 5 Podcast at TikTok. You know what I'm saying? Add me on TikTok. just I briefly mentioned like dealing with this like sore tooth. I don't know what it is. I'm doing this this thing. It's called like pulling, like tooth pulling or whatever, where you like you put oil in your mouth. You swish oil around your mouth for like 2 minutes a day or some shit like that, or at a time when you're doing it. Yeah. So I've been doing that and just like low key, just like I just ate some like ravioli just now because like I got some like ravioli from Whole Foods and I knew like, cause I knew it would be soft, you know what I'm saying, and it wouldn't aggravate my sore tooth. So I just had some soft ravioli, but before that, pretty much everything I've had for the whole week has been blended. Like basically no solid food at all. It just been this pain. It was crazy. I think, man, I was hating. You know, I was hating. It happened again where this debilitating pain. I was like, yo, it's not that bad, and then it hit me one day. And I couldn't really think straight. It was crazy pain that shot through my, like, went from, like, my tooth to, like, pain. It was like a headache, if you will. But then it went into my shoulder, my left shoulder. It's just this sharp pains, and I'm like, holy fuck. It was a little intense. And then it happened again the other day. I was just eating just a piece of watermelon. And then my tooth just started freaking out. So, been doing this. I've been just eating or just drinking fucking like fruit smoothies. Throwing some spinach in that bad boy. Protein powders, protein drinks. Just to not, because this pain. Y'all don't understand this possible pain that you could feel from, like, fucking this toothache. It's no joke. Alright? It's no joke. So I'm trying to do everything in my power not to get to that extreme again where it fucking really flared up. Cause it was flaring up bad. Like I was like getting ready for work, and that's when I had the watermelon, just a couple pieces of watermelon, this little chunked watermelon, and then shit, the pain hit me, and I had to like lay down, and it was like I don't even know if this shit lasts. I can't leave. I can't even like think straight. You know what I'm saying? I couldn't really like walk around. That shit it's intense pain, like intense pain. So I'm doing everything I can to avoid it. So I'm just not even really eating real food for the foreseeable future. Just not gonna eat real food for a little bit here. But beyond that sad shit there, fucking, I got a like first mix, little first mix of song I'm working on. It's called Kwame and Kwame, but I'm saying Kwame because I feel like more people here like know him as Kwame. The pronunciation is Kwame. That's how Stephen A. Smith made his name, was calling this kid Kwame Brown. So it's the song is Kwame. But it's just, the main idea of the song is just, being able to relate to Kwame Brown, someone who they pretty much wrote off. And coming back in his comeuppance. And the way he did it, I don't know if you guys didn't pay attention to his story. I mentioned it here on one episode. I was talking about Kwame. But I thought that whole situation was pretty cool. And Yeah, I'm glad. I'm real happy with how this song sounds, man. Andrew's a fucking beast. Like, he's just a beast, man. He's a fucking beast. And I'm on another level, ladies and gentlemen. Let's just be real here. I'm on another fucking level. The song sounds good. I remember last time, before he sent me the mixes, like the first like little quick mix, because he mixed it even more, and like then it was like, yo, this sounds great. But I remember like before I got those, I was like, man, I don't know if it's gonna like, I don't know how this is gonna sound. You know what I'm saying? Like, so I was just like real curious about how it was gonna sound, and it came out sounding amazing. And then this shit he just sent me sounds fucking so cool. He's doing all this shit. It sounds cool. Makes me sound like a real rapper. Every time I hear this shit, I'm like, damn, bro, you're somehow making me sound like a real rapper. And he's like, you are, man. It's like, yeah, but like with his sauce, with Andrew's touch, like the shit just sounds really cool. You know, so shout out to Andy Action. Saturday Night Duet. Shout out to Andy Action. Alright? He's a beast. He's a beast. Sounds phenomenal. So I'm really excited for the rest of the songs to hear what those are gonna sound like. Cause like when I did my rough drafts here, I'm like, damn, this shit sounds nice. You know, just with my rough drafts, me not even really trying to spit it the right, like too hard or whatever. I just do a rough draft of the songs just so that I can listen back and get my cadence down, so that when I go to the studio to record, I have everything ready to go. So even when I'm just listening to those tracks, I'm like, damn, this shit's nice. Like, just these songs as they are is a solid-ass project. Like, better than solid. Like, really good. It's a really good project. And it's like, you know, it's not overridden, not underridden, but it's going to leave you definitely one more. It's going to leave you one more. It's the Jermaine Event Special. The whole damn main, all right? That's what you're getting on this album, is the whole damn main. I might call the project Eating Noodles Alone. That might be the name of the project. Maybe that should be like the name of a comedy album I put out or something. Because, you know, the whole point of the name, it sounds cool, eating noodles alone. But I'm just annoyed, like in my mind, I'm annoyed by the name Noodles and Company. It just annoys me. So I think it's funny to call my album Eating Noodles Alone. Oh, it's not that deep, but it sounds deep before I explain it, right? Like just eating noodles alone. It's like, oh, this nigga's all emo. But it's like, nah, he's just a douchebag. If anything, I'm just grumpy. I'm just a fucking grump. That's what it is, alright? I'm just a fucking grump. I'm on day 92 of this Spanish shit. You hear a nigga rolling the Mars in there, huh? Hear a nigga rolling the Mars. I'm on day 92 of learning Spanish. Duolingo, ladies and gentlemen. We're out here. Oh, we're out here. And it was getting to the point, because, you know, I don't know if you guys have ever used Duolingo, but if, like, there's certain things, you like the sentences up there, they're asking you a question, either you got to translate or respond to it, but you can click on certain words and it'll tell you, like, what this means, but it doesn't necessarily tell you, like, the conjugation for it, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't tell you the conjugation, so, but it'll tell you some information. What I'm saying is, these last times I've been doing it, nigga, I've just been reading it. I've just been looking at it. I ain't need no help for no nothing. No conjugations, no nothing. No, what is that? I'm just reading it and doing it perfect. So your boy is out here 3 months in on Spanish, and your boy is in here. It was interesting, cause my coworker, there was like these two, like where I work, it's like 90% Mexican people that work there. They're all Mexican, and or 90% Mexican, and they don't speak, like probably like 90% of them only speak, probably 95% of them only speak Spanish. So my other English speaking coworker was like asking if I understood what these people were saying because I said I was learning Spanish, and it was just like, damn, like I guess I should understand everything that they're saying right now, but honestly, I wasn't listening. I wasn't interested in their lives. I'm not interested in this is some Jermaine shit, all right? I'll be real with you guys. Like, sometimes I go on Instagram, and I'm like, whoa, I haven't looked at my personal Instagram in so long. I forgot this person existed. And I usually forget that they exist but it's like, dude, I'm so busy with myself. And it's like, I'm not saying that I'm like so caught up in myself, but it's just like, I'm so concerned with what's going on over here. I have no interest in what's being said over there. It's not being said to me, all right? If it was being said to me, then I would pay attention. But like, yeah, I was like, fuck. No, but when she said it to me, I was like, fuck, I feel like I should be able to understand everything they're saying right now. But it was just like, I'm just not interested in the conversation. It's just like not even a like those coworkers kind of thing. It's just that it could be anyone. They could be speaking English, and I would have no idea what they were saying at that time, because it ain't had shit to do with me. That's the kind of guy I am. If it doesn't concern me, then I'm not really interested. That's how it's not even like I'm just grumpy. You know what I'm saying? I'm grumpy. I'm in my 30s, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in my 30s, you know? Can I be grumpy? Is it okay to be that way? I think it's okay to be that grumpy. I remember when I was working at Outpost, maybe I've talked about this once before, but there's this lady that worked there, and everybody was talking about how nice she was, how great she was to talk to. She's like an older lady, like, she's like not a doctor or something, or maybe she was like a doctor. I don't know what she was. She's like some older white lady that worked there, and she asked me one day, she walked by, she's like, oh, how are you today? And I was like, not too good, actually. And she, like, looked at me, gave me, a weird look, and then walked away. And just walked away. You know what I'm saying? So, if that's okay, then it's okay for me to be like, yo, if it don't damn, I probably could understand everything they're saying, but I don't care what anyone in here is necessarily saying unless they're saying it to me. Like, doesn't concern me. Damn, now I was thinking, like, because I was going to call my next project Still Bitter, because I had a second project with all Mike Regal beats that I was working on initially. But then I fucking was like, I'm going to learn to make beats. And now I've produced this whole project that I'm about to put out. Yeah. So putting it out on the LLC. Got the Curmudgeon Entertainment LLC, ladies and gentlemen. I don't even know if I've mentioned that here, but yeah, the LLC is official. Curmudgeon Entertainment LLC, ladies and gentlemen. Get with it, or get rolled over. Get down and lay down, lie down and die down. Curmudgeon Entertainment, ladies and gentlemen, we here. By we, I mean Jermaine, just me, and all my personalities. We're here. I'm watching these Milwaukee Bucks play, as I said. There's about 6.5 minutes left. No, there's exactly 6.5 minutes left. You got Johnson, some Johnson guy, Cam Johnson, I think. Niggas was talking about jumping him. I guess he dunked on PJ Tucker earlier, and they were talking about jumping this man. Now, man, it looked like nothing happened, and now he's on the ground. But, yeah, I didn't see anything. And now he's on the ground. Yeah, nothing happened. They're trying to see, like, this Cam Johnson went to the ground after a play where he was contacted with Giannis, but as I'm looking at it, nothing happened. But we're beating that ass, all right? Bucks are beating that ass, if you guys don't know. Attaboy. I mean, by the time you're hearing this, unless you're a patron. I mean, even if you are a patron, because I'm recording this as the game's going. So you're most likely going to know who won this game. No matter what, if you're a patron or not. All right? But if you are my patron, be my patron. Be my patron. But the Bucks are up by 20, ladies and gentlemen. It's 110-90. It's a good game in Milwaukee, ladies and gentlemen. That Deer District looks packed and fucking dangerous. Packed and dangerous. Real curious. I don't know. I wanted to, like... I was looking at tickets for that shit, and it's like... Because, it's super expensive. I think, like, standing room only tickets were starting at $350. But then those were skyrocketing, if not sold out immediately. Because you can, like... There's, like, a bar upstairs that has chairs around the sides so that you can watch the game if you have standing room. And it's like, if you just get there early enough, boom, you got a seat. Now you have a sitting room ticket, ladies and gentlemen. We're calling it a sitting room ticket. So I wanted that, but I didn't get it. And yeah, well, I don't want to even go down there, to be honest with you. Like, they showed a shot of the Deer District right now at a home game, and it's fucking ridiculous. Like, that looks like more people, like, way more people than, like, the city. It's more than the city. It's fucking packed. All right? Body to body. It looks like if you guys... I mean, I'm sure I mentioned it here. If you guys are listening to this and you're from Milwaukee, if you were at that fucking Wiz Khalifa Summerfest concert, the free stage, like right after that first album came out, Black and Yellow was popular. They booked him before the album came out, and it was fucking body to body packed from the stage all the way to the fucking rocks. Which, if you've never been to Summerfest, I'm telling you, it's the length of Summerfest. You know what I'm saying? From the stage all the way to the rocks, you couldn't see anything unless we had to just like watch the screens. And it's like people standing all over shit, climbing all over shit, because it was people were climbing on top of establishments, getting arrested. It was just way too many people shit, crazy drunk, smoking hella weed. Well, I mean, because it was the hottest day of the summer. It was like people were dying, or people were passing out. Not dying, I don't think so, but they were passing out from heat stroke. Sorry about that dying thing, but it was like heat. It was a super hot day, so they let people bring in their own water. And yeah, that was reckless. I remember fucking me and Willie. We walked in. Me, Willie, and Rashid. Willie fucking put it was a bottle of Bacardi Limon. I think like a 175 of Bacardi Limon in his pants. And he was just like, yo, I know which gate to go through where they won't check you. Sure enough, we went to the gate and they did not check us. Nigga, we could have had anything in there. That's why I'm not saying what gate it was. But there was a gate where they did not look in your bag, pat you down. They just scan your ticket and be like, all right, you good. Could have had that thingy on me if I wanted it. But I don't got one. And but I'm just saying, we could like the nigga walked in with a 175 of Bacardi Limon successfully. Could have had that thing on him. They would have been none the wiser until shit popped off. Yeah, it's 2-packed. Bucks are up 23 right now, by 23 right now, so we got a little less than 5 minutes. The series is currently 2-0, but by the looks of it, we're going to get the 2-1. We're going to protect home. Hopefully we do the same game 4. And then I think we slide back to Phoenix for game 5. And I'm sticking to my pick of Bucks in 6. We're going to bring home the ship, ladies and gentlemen. You know what's a pet peeve is I've seen niggas post, we going to the chip. I've seen niggas say chip. Nigga, what chip are you, what's the chip, my nigga? What is the chip? Do you know how to spell championship? Because you're not spelling it right. You're just not spelling it right. And if you're referencing the movie that I love, niggas, they didn't say chip. They said ship. So don't disrespect G-Baby like that. I seen a video, I didn't watch it, but it was like the nigga G-Baby was talking about, he gets annoyed, niggas be trying to talk to him about Hardball. Like, nigga, that was sad when they killed G-Baby. Nigga, that was sad. I thought Middleton was about to wet it on that nigga. He missed, but I was like, ooh. They asked Dana White, somebody asked Dana White, because Jake Paul came out in the news again, and they asked Jake Paul about, Jake Paul's always criticizing Dana White about fighter pay, and Dana White was like, yo, this is my company, and I'm paying them what I'm paying them, and if you guys don't like it, you can start your own company and pay them whatever you want to pay them. And so that's now the stance. There's no like, well, maybe if this person can draw or like, because, you know, with the whole Ali rule, that's why like boxers who are relatively unknown make like $20 million in a boxing match. And they'll be relatively unknown compared to these UFC fighters who are taking home like $200,000. With more pay-per-view buys, I would say, depending on the pay-per-view, more pay-per-view buys. They're bigger names, but they don't make the kind of money and it's all because of the Ali Act, which is why the promoters can't really screw the boxer, out of their money, in the way that Dana White is openly doing to these MMA fighters. So that's his stance now. It is what it is. He's paying them what he chooses to pay them. And if you don't like it, start another organization and pay your fighters what you would like to pay them. So this episode is episode 99, The Good Fight. And ladies and gentlemen, there was a good fight indeed. But before that good fight, early on in the card for UFC 264, they played this Diamond, the Dustin the Diamond Poirier. They played this really amazing promo about him being a diamond in the rough. This guy was refining diamonds, just showing, like, going through the whole process of, like, getting raw diamonds and then going through the work of making it, like, a finished product. Like, it was a pretty cool promo for Dustin Poirier. And I'm like, oh, they don't want to make that mistake again. Like, they had the last fight. Didn't really put too much promotion dollars into Poirier. And then Poirier wins the fight, and now they put, like, pretty good promotion on Poirier leading up to this fight. So I was like, that's pretty cool that they're not going to make that mistake again. Because clearly there's a good chance that Dustin could win this one. He won the last fight. Like, why would you just suddenly doubt the man? You know what I'm saying? But leading into this fight also, Conor seemed like new levels of delusional. He was saying, like, he only lost, like, I think, like 2 or 3 fights because he doesn't consider any of the submissions where he tapped, or any of the times, or if it was a decision. If it was a decision or a submission, he says he doesn't count that as a loss, just the knockouts. So he's saying he only lost like 2 or 3 times for I think what he was apparently saying. So it's pretty delusional coming into this. And by that logic, it was like he never beat Nate Diaz at all. You know what I'm saying? You decisioned Nate Diaz, and you said that doesn't count. Said that to me says that Conor he doesn't think he beat Nate Diaz. Like, he never beat Nate Diaz. But he did lose to Nate, I would say. Apparently there was this altercation. I saw, like, they show, like, the after of what happened. I guess, like, Conor, like, walked up on Dos Anjos and, like, sized him up and just started talking shit. And then, like, they had to be separated. And Conor was saying, like, you bottled it, mate. You bottled our fight over a sore toe. A sore toe, mate. And Rafael Dos Anjos has said that he broke his foot in the lead up to a fight with Conor McGregor. And Conor has made fun of that injury for years. And that's pretty interesting. Rafael Dos Anjos was there as a backup for the fight if anyone had to pull out. Max Holloway, side note, mentioned that before he got hurt, he was going to be the backup for this fight. He was going to weigh in, do the whole thing, and be a backup for this fight. So that could have been cool. We could have potentially got the trilogy for Dustin and Holloway. The trilogy we didn't know we needed. Or the rematch between Holloway and McGregor. I think that would have been pretty cool. I think that would have been real cool. But Conor McGregor versus Dustin Poirier, all right? I did take note right away that the referee was Herb Dean. I was pretty drunk last night. But I took note that the ref Herb Dean was there. I had to watch the fights again today. Or I didn't have to, but I did watch the fights again today. Just the co-main and the main. Just to... Because by that point, I felt like I was about 12 sheets to the wind. And maybe my memory was a little bit foggy at that point. So I watched them again today, the co-main and the main event. But I took note that Herb Dean was there. And, Conor was landing early. He looked real good early. He was landing leg kicks. like good combinations. He was doing these spinning heel kicks to the body. Like whenever Dustin would try to move off to the left, he tried to circle out to the left. Conor would do these spinning back heel kicks to the side to keep him in range, keep him into the like just that side. Like every time he tried to move that way, he'd throw that kick. He was looking like Conor of old, and he was landing early. But then like at some point in the fight, it's just like it seemed like Dustin just bit down. He just bit down he bit down on his mouthpiece and decided that he was going for it. And he came through and just landed landed a good combination, landed some heavy strikes on Conor and forced Conor McGregor to shoot. Leading up to this fight, Conor McGregor was talking about, "Oh, you people are shooting ass bitch." Talking about like he bets Dustin's gonna shoot because he doesn't want to stand with him and how he's a bitch for shooting. Conor shoots immediately. As I mentioned before, Conor said he does not count submissions as victories. Conor and Dustin end up on the cage from Conor shooting. They scramble a bit. Conor wasn't able to take Poirier down, so they get up against the fence. And I think Poirier drops down for like a single leg, and Conor tries to go for a guillotine. And then he does it once, and then once again for the second time, he attempts a guillotine, drops down, and like it's a pretty weird. The Bucks just won, ladies and gentlemen. Just want to let you guys know that. So it's 2-1. Milwaukee versus the Suns. Suns are up 2-1. Bucks in 6. Let's fucking get it. It'd be pretty cool to be there. It would be pretty cool to be there. But it's like $3,000 a seat. And so Conor attempts guillotine. Thank God for that fucking cough there. I mean, I still got something stuck in my throat there, it seems like. But it cleared it up a lot there. Conor attempts the guillotine, drops down to the ground, which is like rookie jiu-jitsu shit. You shouldn't attempt that guillotine. Don't, and like bail on it. If like the second it seems like you're gonna put yourself in a bad position, bail on it. Cause like he went to the ground and I'm like I'm thinking like, yo, he gotta lock the legs up. He's gotta lock the legs up. But he didn't even go for the legs. Didn't even go for Dustin's legs. And it's like, fuck. You're not going to finish this. And Dustin just pops up and goes to the other side of his body. Excuse me. Dustin pops up, goes to the other side of his body, which is the perfect defense for that move. That's why he had to grab Poirier's legs with his legs to keep him in place. But he did not do that. So that was some rookie level jiu-jitsu shit right there. And then, so Poirier gets mount, or he's in guard. He's in guard, and he's at top in Conor's guard, and he just starts throwing some elbows, landing some strikes. He lands a barrage of heavy strikes. Conor starts landing like heavy elbows, like on him, like they're trading strikes on the ground. But if anything, Poirier is definitely looking to get the best of these exchanges. It looks like he's getting the better of Conor McGregor in this fight here, ladies and gentlemen. Well, at the end of this round, at the end of the first round here, he's on the ground and he's landing heavy strikes on Conor. Conor's throwing some elbows. He's hitting him with some good up kicks. Shout out to Chance the Rapper. He's at the game right now, or he was. It's over, but they were showing him like cheering for the Bucks. So shout out to Chance the Rapper for that. Shout out to him. So Poirier's landing heavy shots on McGregor, and Conor grabs the glove of Poirier and he's pulling his hand down. He's pulling him down as he's throwing up kicks. So he's pulling Poirier down into the up kicks, and Poirier eventually just like walks away and like says, I think he like tells Herb Dean that he's grabbing the inside of his glove, and Herb Dean's watching the whole time, right? This is happening. Herb Dean is just watching. He's watching it happen. He doesn't say anything, and Conor just stands up, and they go to exchange, and they both miss. And as Conor goes to step back, he somehow lands wrong when he steps back, and he like lands awkwardly on his ankle and just breaks his fibula. Just snaps right there in the octagon. Like they missed, he steps back and breaks his fibula. And that ends the fight. They call it by doctor stoppage. It's interesting because Conor was screaming, "Doctor stoppage! Doctor stoppage!" like after the fight. And John McCarthy, the guy who created the rules for MMA, he was saying like, "Yo, I've never seen a fighter decide what kind of finish it was." And he screamed doctor stoppage. He told them it was a doctor stoppage, and they went along with it being a doctor stoppage. And he was like, but according to the rules that he fucking made, he was like, that was a TKO. Like, he was like, I don't care, like, that the injury happened. Like, yeah, even, like, when Anderson Silva lost, when he threw a leg kick and his leg broke, same thing that happened to Chris Weidman. It wasn't like, oh, doctor stoppage. Those were TKO losses. So, somehow, Conor got them to call it a doctor stoppage instead of just a TKO, as it was. It's pretty interesting. He's got the juice. He's got the fucking juice. But Conor was talking all week about how Poirier would leave on a stretcher, and he ended up going out on one. Conor McGregor ended up leaving on a stretcher, ladies and gentlemen. Like mumbled. He ended up going out on one. There we go, Mushmouth. But it was like, this episode was originally named On a Stretcher. Conor left on a stretcher, but I decided to change the name. The young kid in me who watched Monday Night Raw loves that title, but I changed the episode to The Good Fight. Mainly because, Dustin won the fight, but as I was rewatching the fight, so I named the episode last night as I was taking notes, like on a stretcher, is fucking pretty drunk, and named it On a Stretcher because I thought it would be pretty interesting. And I'm rewatching these fights, and I rewatched this fight, and when they interviewed Dustin Poirier after the fight, and he's talking about the Good Fight Foundation, which is his charity, and they're building homes for people in Uganda, and how they're working with this guy right now who has cancer. And they flew him out to the fight. He was there at the time. And he was like, I want to give a shout out to him because he's the real fighter. He's like, I could quit anytime. Like, you're the real fighter. I think that was a beautiful thing to say. You know what I'm saying? So, and it's like you follow that up. Interesting enough. There's beautiful words by Dustin, who was like, yeah, Conor was saying he wanted to kill me. And he was like, but I don't wish that on anyone. Like, I really hope he gets home safe to his beautiful family. And then he says this thing about the cancer patient being there and all that. Then they go to Conor. Conor goes off and goes, "This isn't over." Like, starts just going off saying he was boxing the head off. He was boxing his head off, kicking his leg off him, and just saying he was gonna win the fight, essentially. And then he started screaming at Poirier's wife Jolie is in the octagon, and Conor tweeted or posted on Instagram or some shit like that a picture of what it looked like a DM request from Dustin Poirier's wife the other day. He posted that, and he's been saying like, "Yo, your wife was in me DMs." He said like, "Your wife wants to see the hair around me cock, bro." He's saying all this shit. So then here we are in the octagon. There's Jolie, and he's like, "There was no check kick. Your wife was in me DMs." And he was telling her to come to the after party. I guess they're going to go to the Win, and then they're going to have an after party. He's hollering at, he's just saying, like, "Your wife was in me DMs." You got Jolie flipping him off. They got, like, people, like, holding Poirier back, just trying to get him out of the octagon. Conor's just going off. He was saying, what was this the quote he said, "I was boxing the bleeding head off him, kicking the bleeding leg off." And he's like, "This is not over. If I have to take it outside with him, it's on outside. I don't give a bollocks." So, after Poirier said those great things about the Good Fight Foundation and all that, they cut to Conor and he just went off, you know. So I just felt like I need to change the episode, just given me watching it sober and just realizing how weird it was for Conor to just feel comfortable to go on that rant after the things that Poirier had just said. It's kind of weird, but Dana's saying that Dustin will fight Poirier next, and but he also said that once Conor heals up from his broken fibia, that he will book the rematch between Poirier and Conor. A fourth fight is happening. And I started writing these notes. I'm like, yo, that means potentially, ladies and gentlemen, that Conor's next fight, even though he hasn't won a fight since, he's only won one fight since Barack Obama was president, as this guy like mentioned at the press conference. It's like, shout out to that guy. Like, he's like, yo, you've only won one fight since Barack Obama was president. Like, he fucking killed Conor with that statement. All right? Killed Conor with that statement. And, yeah, it's true. But according to Dana, they're going to book the rematch. And Poirier is fighting Oliveira next, probably in December, they were saying. And Conor's probably going to need 6 months to heal up. And then potentially, ladies and gentlemen, his next fight will be for the UFC lightweight championship. Because he's Conor fucking McGregor. And they even asked him, like, later on, like, I wrote that note, like, whoa, that, like, just surmising that that's possibly what's going to happen. They're just going to give him a title shot if Poirier beats Oliveira. And they asked him, like, about it. Like, someone asked him directly about it, and he was like, well, like, I don't know. He was like, you never know how these things work. Like, by the time this happens, you don't know what's going to be going on here and what's going to be going on there. So what Dana is saying to me is, like, yeah, Conor is fighting for the belt, like, immediately if Poirier has it. He's coming back and he's fighting Poirier in a fourth fight for the belt. That's happening. That's just crazy, man. Like, who did he fight? Like, he lost to Khabib, he lost to Floyd, lost to Dustin twice, he beat Cerrone. I think that's about it. That's about it, ladies and gentlemen. But I think he looked good at the start of the fight. We were almost at the end of that round. We don't know what would have happened in the second round. You know what I'm saying? If you saw the first round with Michael Chandler versus Charles Oliveira, you'd be like, fuck. Chandler is beating Oliveira's ass. This is not going well for Oliveira. I think I wrote that in my notes. And then right away, Oliveira knocks out Michael Chandler. So who knows what the second round would have brung? Who knows if, potentially the third round, what that would have brung? You don't know. You never know what happened. It's a fight. That's why we watch it, because anything could happen. And unfortunately, Conor McGregor breaks his fibia by just stepping back wrong. Breaks his fibia in the first round. It's pretty whack. Coach Kavanaugh says Conor had a pre-existing ankle injury in the camp for this fight, so maybe that factored into what happened, but if any, it sucks that it ended that way. It really sucked that it ended that way, and yeah, I don't know. I don't know where Conor goes from here. Like, if maybe fight Dos Anjos next, if he does fight again. I don't necessarily want him to retire. The sports, those events, man, they're interesting with Conor. I was saying, in the weeks leading up to this that I didn't really care about this fight. But then, as we got pretty much to the week of the fight, or maybe, 2 weeks out, I was like, oh, my God, I'm excited. This fight's about to be crazy. All of a sudden, I got amped up. And it's because it's Conor, man. It's that Conor effect. You had fucking crazy amount of celebrities at the fights. Fucking Donald Trump, Machine Gun Kelly, Megan Fox, plenty of people. Machine Gun Kelly looks weird. But there's plenty celebrities there. Plenty celebrities. And that's the Conor McGregor effect. That's the Conor McGregor effect. Then you got Ryan Hall. I mentioned Ryan Hall last week about how I was picking Ryan Hall to beat Ilia Topuria because, how they teach him, or how I've trained jiu-jitsu, and in those classes I've trained, they'll have guests come in, right? And when some of those guests come in, that's usually some of the more informative classes. They'll tell you just important techniques, or just very tricky applications to certain techniques. Those are usually the more informative classes. And I remember this one guy they were saying was the first black belt under Ryan Hall. You know what I'm saying? And I always loved when that guy showed up, because he's very good at jiu-jitsu. And he's very good at teaching jiu-jitsu. So I wasn't going to go against what I knew, you know what I'm saying? So I went with Ryan Hall last week. But once again, it's even though he does those rolls, he keeps rolling at you. And, otherwise he'll throw these, heel kicks. And I think, if I remember correctly, he got a pretty good heel kick off in there. If I'm not mistaken, he got a pretty good heel kick off in there. But he keeps doing these these Imanari rolls, just trying to catch the leg. And it caught up to him. And it just looked weird. Ilia Topuria would come to him, trying to punch him or whatever, kick him, trying to strike, and he would just dip down and try to grab the leg immediately and roll forward. And it got to the point where Topuria started throwing hooks and knees, because he just kept dipping down and rolling immediately every time he'd get close to him. And ultimately, they ended up in a roll, if you will, in a little scramble, to where Ryan Hall was like, his hand was kind of like behind his back, and he's just in a bad position where, yeah, Poirier just started raining down blows and knocked this man out. So shout out to Ilia Topuria, man. He had a pretty good fight. He was not playing them games with Ryan Hall. I don't know if Ryan Hall, if he intends to keep fighting this way, I don't know how much further he feels he can go with that kind of style. It's like a Ben Askren situation. Like, you should probably really focus on some striking, like real striking. Get some confidence behind it. Yo, shout out to the Unified Rules podcast. They mentioned they called me out. Not necessarily called me out, but they like mentioned that I was talking about Ryan Hall in last week's episode, and so I took these notes here. Otherwise, I probably would have just took that L and kept it moving. But I'm like, let me address this. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Ilia Topuria. As far as Ryan Hall though, I mean, the thing with the novelty with watching Ryan Hall fights is that he ends up winning with that wacky style, with that funky style. You know, it is a Ben Askren situation. Because they got that style where they're really good at just like this thing. And it works. It just works. And it keeps working and keeps working. And you're like, yo, it shouldn't work. Once you get him in there with a killer, it's not going to work. Throw Ben Askren in there with fucking Robbie Lawler, it's not going to work. Well, it kind of worked. You could be the judge of that. Put him in there with Masvidal, it didn't work. Didn't work. So it's like the same situation. So I don't know. I think Ryan Hall's like 38. And if this is what he's doing, it's just real goofy, man. It's real goofy. I don't know who I'd like to see him fight now, but I think maybe he's too old to like really get some good striking, to really get confident in his striking where he's not just doing that nonsense. It just looks goofy. It looks goofy, man. Sean O'Malley versus Chris Moutinho. That was a pretty good fight. It was fight of the night, I believe. Sean dedicated his win to the Phoenix Suns, so I was like, I hope he fucking gets knocked out. Suns just lost, bitch. But Sean is in there fucking styling on that dude, like. But the Moutinho guy was like, fuck, he was still fighting hard. Like, Sean was like dropping him and just styling on this dude, but he just kept coming forward. Like, Chris got up, kept coming forward. Second round, O'Malley's like beating this dude's ass, but like, he kept putting pressure on him, and he was like landing shots on O'Malley, wearing him down, like kept O'Malley moving backwards. And O'Malley is just like landing at will on Moutinho, but he kept putting pressure on him. At this point, they were saying Sean landed over 80% of his strikes. All right, it's just unreal. He's landed over 80% of his strikes, ladies and gentlemen. Like, that's the definition of what Adesanya was talking about. I don't like close my eyes and pray. I like aim and fire. You know what I'm saying? That's the definition of that shit right there. And whatever reason, as I was typing the 80 strikes, the referee steps in and stops it because he's just teeing off on him. And it was only a few seconds. It wasn't a long time in the fight. I felt like they could have let him finish that fight out. He was a tough motherfucker. And just because, yeah, he was landing a lot of strikes there, but he was still standing, still coming. I'd say you shouldn't have stopped that fight. I mean, he wasn't going to win that fight regardless, but it didn't need to be stopped. Then you got Greg Hardy. A couple more fights we're going to talk about here. You got Greg Hardy, who fought Tai Tuivasa. Apparently, Greg Hardy called out Tai Tuivasa on Instagram. It was like, let's bang. And Tai Tuivasa knocks out Greg Hardy in the first round and says I'm not the one to bang with, bro. Pick another bloke. Which I guess is real. He knocked him the fuck out, so he's not the one to bang with. He's not the one to bang with. Ty knocks him out. I was really hoping Greg won that fight. Not sure where Greg Hardy goes from here. I think he's still, especially in the heavyweight division, I feel like you can live in the heavyweight division for like a long time. Like, you know what I'm saying? There'll be like, Alistair Overeem was like 44, 43, if I'm not mistaken, and still fighting for, like, trying to fight for a belt, fighting top level fighters. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like at heavyweight, you can be there for a long time, but I don't know. People are saying like, oh man, he's only won this many fights and yada yada yada. It's like, yeah, but one of them fights he lost was a decision loss to Alexander Volkov, where he was a tough motherfucker. He wasn't finishing there. This is his first knockout, or it might be second. I think it's his first. I could be wrong. But he just got knocked out cold, all right? Some Alexander Volkov couldn't do to him. And I think he could still be something here, you know? I think he could still be something here. So hopefully they rock with him. I mean, it wasn't that long ago where Tai Tuivasa was on like a 2 or 3 fight losing streak, and they gave him Steven Struve. And I was like, yo, they gave him, like, no disrespect to Steven Struve, but the blueprint on how to beat Steven Struve is out. You know what I'm saying? It's out there. So I was like, damn, man. They just gave him one. But I'm like, he could still lose the fight because I wasn't too confident in Ty back in those days. I was like, he could still lose this fight, but he did what he needed to do. He got Struve up against the fence and just hit him with punches, just flood him with shots and overwhelm him with shots, and then he'll just kind of crumble. It's what he does. I don't know why. He's 7 feet tall, 6'11" or some shit. He's 7 feet tall, and you can't teach that. But he just crumbles under those situations. So until that fight, you know, it was like if he lost that, it's pretty sure he was going to be cut from the UFC. But he's now on a 3-fight win streak at this point. So shout out to Tai Tuivasa on that. I still think you can do something with Greg Hardy. I think he's still serviceable. So I think they should give him at least one more fight. Give him one more fight, I say. In the co-main event, I don't know why I wrote all these notes this weird way. You had Stephen Thompson versus Gilbert Burns. I rewatched that fight again, as I was saying. I remember last night, I might have tweeted out, like, oh, this is a robbery. This is bullshit. But, like, as I'm looking at my notes here, this is why I was like, I got to watch these fights over. Because I remember the fight ended, and I thought Wonder Boy should have won. And as I'm rewatching the fight, I'm like, dude, I scored every round for Gilbert Burns right now. And I'm looking at my notes, and I'm like, fuck. I even wrote in the notes that I was scoring these rounds for Burns. But I think my only issue here was that Burns hit he hit Wonder Boy with so many blatant illegal shots at the end of the third round. He hit him with like shots to the spine, intentional illegal shots, shots to the spine. Yeah, shots to the everything. Oh, I'm salty. I was like, yo, I thought my vocals didn't sound different at first, but there we go. I didn't have that on it the whole time. I'm looking at it like, fuck, I didn't put the shit on there. Hopefully that applies to the older audio. I don't know if it will. Hopefully it will. It sounds great now. Sounds great now. But yeah, so I did every round for Burns, but then he did those illegal shots to the head, to the back of the head, to the spine, intentional illegal shots, trying to knock him out and just get a finish. So he intentionally threw all these illegal shots in an attempt to get a finish, like at the end of the fight, and it's just disgusting. I felt like looking at that, he should have fucking been deducted like 2 fucking points. It was super dirty at the end of the fight, like super dirty. He'd already won the fight. He dominated that fight. I gave him all 3 rounds. All right, he was landing heavy on Wonder Boy in the stand-up, and he was getting takedowns. And then you end the fight with intentional illegal blows, punches to the spine, the back of the head, repeated strikes to the spine. That shit was gross. That shit was gross. I felt like he should have been deducted points. I don't know. I wasn't cool with what I saw there, and yeah, Gilbert needs to chill out, is what I will say on that. And I'm going to go ahead and give you guys social medias. If you want to follow this podcast on Instagram and Twitter, it's at Babylon5Pod. You can follow my personal account at My Name's Jermaine. You can email this podcast at Babylon5podcast@gmail.com. You can follow this podcast at babylon5.podbean.com. You can listen to this podcast on Podbean, Stitcher, Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, YouTube, pretty much anywhere podcasts stream. And if you guys are on Xbox, go ahead and add me at SauceBoss414. If you guys are on Twitch, go ahead and add me at twitch.tv/Babylon5. Go ahead and join the Discord at Babylon5Pod. If you guys want to check out the merchandise, go to teespring.com/stores/BOFpod-shop. Go buy some merch. Don't just be my Negroes, be my patrons. Be my patrons. Go to patreon.com/Babylon5Pod and join the Patreon today. As I mentioned a few weeks ago, I brought down the tiers. It's just $1 to be a patron. Just come on, be my patron. Won't you be my patron? But lastly, if you guys are on TikTok, follow me at Babylon5 Podcast. This has been your boy, Jermaine Event, episode 99, The Good Fight. Congrats to Dustin Poirier on his victory. Good luck in your fight versus Oliveira, because you're gonna fucking need it. Oliveira's a monster, alright? I don't know who wins that fight. I feel like they both make certain mistakes, and it just depends on who can capitalize on the other's mistakes at the right time. Like, but they're both fucking deadly everywhere. So I think that's going to be a good fight. And this is The Good Fight. I'm Jermaine Event, and I hope you guys are taking care of yourselves and each other. And I'll see you when I see you.
Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Bang bling bling, chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant down Vatican now. Chant down Babylon kingdom, team make we chant